Okay, awesome. First off, thanks everybody for joining the community call today. Thanks for taking out your time, and I really appreciate all of you. Uh, a little bit of introduction to the Phoenix Guild if you are completely new to the guild, but I think those of you who are on the call are already familiar with the guild. So I don't want to take much of our time. But when we started the guild, just to emphasize on the idea, is that when we started the guild, one of the core things that we are trying to tackle is that there is a lot of funding out there for projects that can be attempted or that can be done by women. So there is grant funding for different types of projects, not just technical developer based projects, but there are design projects, there are community projects. So there are grants out there for all ecosystem projects, right? So there are grants out there for improving the entire Web3 ecosystem. And that is one of the specific gaps that we as a community can try to fulfill. How can we help women reach these grants? It could be multiple steps, of course, starting with education for somebody who's completely new or somebody who already has some developer experience. Can we help them brainstorm and come up with some ideas? We had a couple of brainstorming sessions during Eat Denver. And then for those who have an idea and know that they want to go in a specific protocol or they know that they want to work in specific domains, can we connect them with opportunities? Can we help them build grant proposals? Can we help them build teams, etc.? So these are a couple of things that we thought of when we started the Phoenix Guild. And I think this is a good area that we can still continue to look at because the grants ecosystem is not going anywhere for the next 3 to 5 years. There's a lot of money that's sitting in the grants ecosystem that has still not been disbursed. So I think this is a great niche area for us to focus on. There are a lot of female communities, women-led communities that are doing a lot of different things, like mostly the education space. But I feel like just gearing them towards something more specific, like in terms of grants, in terms of working on projects, in terms of taking up some side projects. I think those things are something very niche that we can work on. So that's basically the mission and the kind of long-term vision that we started with. I think these things are already familiar. Four of us applied for a grant with Ocean Protocol and we got a $3,000 grant. That's when we started the community. But right now we are just self-sustaining with our own passion. What we want to do and how we want to reach these grants is by doing a lot of onboarding sessions. That means tackling the first problem, that is women, many of the women across the globe don't even know about Web3. So how do we tackle that problem? By doing a lot of onboarding sessions, getting them to know about Web3 and telling them about the opportunities that exist. We ourselves can create opportunities in the form of bounties, hackathons, and or bring opportunities from different protocols in the form of grants, smaller learning bounties, writing bounties, etc. Mentor women to attempt the opportunities that are coming to them. So even though there are a lot of opportunities, bounties that are posted in the Telegram, we don't see women actively taking up these opportunities. That means they need some help. There is still a gap. They don't feel confident that they can attempt these opportunities. So can we mentor them in a way that we can kind of help them attempt these opportunities? Then, of course, the bigger picture, the bigger part of things is, can we actually help them build an entire skill set from scratch? That's where we can think of doing boot camps. We have our Solidity boot camp. Most of you on this call are already part of the Solidity boot camp in one way or the other. Heather is one of the mentors. And we have Sri Lakshmi and Nivedita who are helping with the comms, Almas as well, helping with marketing, structuring the boot camp. I've recently reached out to a couple of women from the bigger pie led by Bridget who are willing to do a couple of masterclass sessions. So things are coming together, but we still have a long way to go in terms of seeing the final projects coming out. I think that's going to be the big win for us. So we can think of doing boot camps that will help them build an entire skill set altogether. One thing that we we discussed and thought of, decided in the beginning is that we will keep the sessions, educational sessions that we are doing open for all, not just for women, but the mentorship on and the extra effort that we are putting in order to get them through the opportunities or in order to get them to attempt these grants, we'll focus it on females. Just a quick quick insight into what we have done so far. I actually took a while to prepare this, so but it was fun, and I myself surprised that we could do so many things. We started about our first session. We started on Jan 21st, and we have come a long way since then. We have done a couple of introductory meetups in the form of educational sessions. We have done one for the Phoenix Guild. We have done a token session for the Phoenix Guild. We have done a beginners meetup in collaboration with Data Girl Cameroon, and one with Mamsu Code as well. And yesterday, Krati did an introduction to DAO session. So these are a couple of educational sessions that we have done. All of the recordings are there. You can access them. Events and speakers, as the world is opening up, we have done a couple of in-person meetups, but so far we have been only able to do in Bangalore. And I think we want to also expand this in other parts of the country. I'm working on setting up some plans where we can get some grants to build communities. I'll structure that and probably share with folks later as well. We collaborated with the Indian Ocean Hackathon, which is a virtual hackathon, and had some of the Phoenix Guild members participate in the hackathon as well. So these are some of the things that we did. Now, as I mentioned, like when we started, that this year, as a community of women, we should aim to reach $50,000 worth of bounties, hackathons, or project money that we are earning, right? So this is where our count stands. Two women from our guild have gotten a project to build a platform to claim NFTs. There is one front-end developer and one Solidity smart contract developer. The whole project compensation is $2,000. Sweta, Almas, and I got a grant to run the study group for Solana specifically, and we got a $6,000 grant for that. We had writing bounties, which were there's one more name that I have missed. It's like, so we had writing bounties from the Ocean protocol, and specifically for us, which was $300 worth. So we have 3 women attempt that and get the bounties. Again, Ocean India Hackathon, Divya and I attempted couple of tasks as a part of the hackathon, and we had $600 that we won. And last but not the least, we have an ongoing Algo Vera Analytics bounty session, which is being attempted by both Swapna and Spurti. So what they are doing is they are going through they had several hacking sessions and they have created YouTube videos out of that. But it's fairly difficult for non data folks to understand that. And so Apna and Spurti are breaking down those hacking sessions and writing smaller articles out of that. And that's a bounty that they have been assigned, that is $500 worth of bounty. We had one winning team, Anjali and Saundarya, who won the Her DAO logo design. But I think their bounties in the form of Her tokens, which is yet to be determined, the worth of that. So far as a community, we have won $9,400. And yeah, that's pretty much it that I wanted to share, like some of the projects that are ongoing or started at the guild. We have a launch a DAO project that a front-end dev and I did together, where you can launch your own DAO at the click of a button. An NFT minting project, which I already shared earlier, for which they have got compensation as well. A crypto savings app led by Nivedita, and some of us are building this Battle of Huffycons, which is an online game using ZK proofs. So here are some of the projects which are ongoing. Some of them are already completed, and it's super exciting that everybody's working on a lot of stuff. Now, this is where I would like all of your thoughts, where I just had a couple of things in the form of roadmap, like what are the things we can do. The Solidity Bootcamp, we are already kickstarted the whole process of registration, etc. We want to do one bootcamp probably in the second half or later half of the year, which focuses on marketing and community management, because that is one of one of the other most seeked for skills in this space. Can you manage a community? Can you do marketing for a particular organization? Can you build communities for them? So we want to do a very short boot camp for that. It won't be as extensive as the Solidity one, but that's something that we're definitely looking at. JavaScript boot camp for those who are interested in starting to learn programming, because there was a Solidity Bootcamp interest form that I had floated early on before the Solidity Bootcamp form itself, where there were a lot of women who are freshers but are interested to jump onto the coding bandwagon. So I thought that a JavaScript bootcamp, which would be more like a study group, would be something good to start. I definitely want non-coders like Nivedita, Sri Lakshmi, who are already probably doing this, and Divya as well, who is doing JavaScript, who's learning JavaScript as of now. So to kind of lead this, do a small study group, maybe we can apply for a small grant as well, kind of thing for this. Uh, this is something for advanced level, like once you have gone through the Solidity boot camp, for if you want to progress further and get better at it, I'm speaking to a couple of folks to see if we can do like a intensive 10-hour 15-hour kind of smart contract security workshop, which will be slightly more intensive, slightly more tech heavy, but I think it is something that would benefit people a lot, because there are very few folks, engineers themselves, who are very good at smart contract security. So if this is something as well we can capitalize on, it could be like a 2-3 day workshop that we could do. And these are the two ideas that we are still kind of thinking about how we want to do. And we have been asked by a lot of different folks to see if we can build this. So one of the things, and this is something that Vitalik also spoke about, proof of skill, right? Like, how do you prove that you have done something? Like, for example, think of a platform where people who are looking for talent can come in and just see what are the different skills that are available. So, for example, if at Phoenix Guild we have had writing bounties, we have had UI UX bounties, we have had deep dive bounties, we have had Solidity Bootcamp. So here are a couple of skills that we could put up, and then based on how many proof of skill NFTs that you have collected by attending workshops, by solving puzzles, or by winning bounties, etc., your profile would come up for as a skilled person for this particular skill. So as well as for a user, you can just log into the platform, connect your wallet, and see what are the different things, what are the different skills that you have gained as a part of, starting with as a part of Phoenix Guild. And then, we could expand this to the global thing as well. So this is something that's a long-term thing that we want to build. So it would be like a website where you can find uh, women with specific skills that you might be looking to hire. So that's the idea. And collaboration with colleges basically is one of the things we were thinking about, where if we can we get women who are in engineering colleges, like just during their final years, or just during their pre-final years, who are already in the engineering uh, section, can we onboard them and get them to think about building some small side Web3 projects, as they may already have some computer science background. We can train them very quickly and just encourage them to work on smaller projects, and going forward possibly consider a career in the Web3 space. And when DAO is just a when question. I don't I feel like to put together a DAO, there might be a lot of work that we need to do, structure the governance, etc. So I feel like if we have enough proof of skill, maybe then we can kind of tackle the question. But this is just like my thought process. And at this point, I'm just going to open it up and want folks to just like give their thought process on what do you think we can do going forward. What is something that you feel is missing, like, and is there something that we can do as a community to fill that gap? So I'm gonna stop talking now and just like mute myself so folks can step in.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And at the moment, what I think is like, first we need to build the foundation or to get those testimonials or get that work getting up, be it with respect to bounties, like proof of skill, and then show like what all work we can do. So once that is set up, once that system is automated, then we can think of like adding the governance and the DAO part. But initially, yeah, we need to have a lot of examples and a lot of like case studies. I'll refer, like say suppose like we have only couple of folks only doing a writing bounty, couple of folks only for dev. We don't want that kind of inclusion. We want like if you're interested, learn, take part of it, like a value add for every individual. So he or she, like whoever part of this now, should not feel like, yeah, I'm not this part of it, like I mean excluded out of it. So no, we don't want that to happen. So we want more examples of this sort, like with respect to bounties and more on the dev or the hackathon side part of it. So it may take time. So don't we, just because like the world is going through DAOs and creating DAOs, like we just cannot just deep dive in just at the next step. No, first create the, you can say the basic foundation. Once that you have a proof like it's running, this MVP is working, then we can switch on to the DAO part. Then the governance things will be easy. But if this basic thing is not done, then the governments will be a hell of a ride, like if this is not set up. Yeah, that's my 2 points on it.
I feel like
Yeah, I
we
agree. Do you feel,
just
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I feel like we should have like a roadmap set and certain goals that we have established that we want to achieve, let's say in numbers, or let's say in events that we want to do these many events, and or if we want to say like, we want to get these many developers out there, or we want these many people in our community. I think we should have a roadmap for like in 6 months or an year, and then set goals for it, and then we should go ahead and start applying for like grants and stuff through which we can also support women in our community and also help them achieve these goals, right? Because even when like what we realized is, even with the solidarity bootcamp, a lot of people I think probably also joined because of the whole incentivization system. But if we don't have a pool of money in our in like with us to actually incentivize them for each and every task, we need to go around, like go to protocols and like keep applying again time and again. Rather, what I would say is that we have a set roadmap and set goals, and then go for like a funding round, and then try to achieve all of these goals in like a little bit in peace, and have a more structured manner to do so, if we are planning on incentivizing each and everything of each and every task that we're planning.
Yeah,
But
kind
my
of agree.
question is, sorry, Almas, go ahead.
No, kind of agree with Sri Lakshmi on the roadmap thing, because once that is defined, then you know your actions where exactly we need to take in. The numbers will also speak. So even if you're approaching for any grant or anything, you have the numbers to show the decision makers, or they will provide grant, and that will make things more easy rather than having a conversation and then coming up with the numbers. Better than have that already ready with the form of roadmap and then those numbers. That will be pretty easy to convince also.
So my question is around like, how do we think about this roadmap? Like, I know that we have lots of stuff lined up that we want to do, but should we do it like, should we focus on a particular thing? Like we do a roadmap for developers. So like these are the things that we want to like very much focus on, and this is what at the end of the day we want to do. Like we want to support developers, or should we do like we build a roadmap which is like we want to support folks who can learn to build communities, and then once we have given them that skill set, they will help build communities for your protocols. That could be one ask. So I'm just, and because there is such a gap in both sides of things, I'm not very sure like how do we put forth the proposal to protocol. So that's something
I,
I'm sure.
I might be able to, I might be able to help a little bit with that. My company also gives grants. And I'll turn on my camera. Did you say you got one grant from Ocean Protocol?
Yeah, we got an initial grant from Ocean Protocol for $3,000.
Trent
And
Trip McConaughey is one of the advisors to my company.
Oh, okay.
So he's on the advisory board. I don't know him personally, but he's on the advisory board. And I know people from my company work really closely with Ocean Protocol. We have a grant program as well. I've never myself written a grant, so I don't know. And I'm not one of the people who decides who gets the grants, but my company is looking to give grants to people who are doing something in the Web3 environments that would help, like that would sort of work together with Boson Protocol, which is the name of my company. So I think mostly the companies that look at giving grants to are more like protocol and product companies. But I think that you can make a good argument that one of the things that we really need is developers, because nobody can find developers. And to like put something together saying, this is what we are adding to the Web3, protocol, Web3 environment, Web3, economy, is trying to get more developers out there. And there aren't enough developers, full stop, let alone female developers. I get people probably, Gian, you get that all the time too, asking for female developers. I mean, there actually are people out there looking for female developers, and they're hard to find. But so, I mean, I can go away and have a look again at our grant program to see exactly what it says, and to see, and I've never written any kind of a grant proposal, but maybe I could help like word things, and we could apply for a grant from my program. If you get it, it could be up to $50,000.
You're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that sounds good. So you think we should pose the narrative in such a way that we are going to provide skillful developers from this team, but we should continue with like what we are doing even for the other like non-dev kind of things. So I'm trying to think of a narrative where we can say that, so like think of us like 2-3 years down the line, where people actually come to us for end-to-end projects. Like, hey, I want to get this built on Web3. I don't know anything, and I'm going to give this entire project to Phoenix Guild. So then we have people in Phoenix Guild who have UI UX skills, who have front-end skills, who have smart contract skills, and who have marketing skills. So we say that here are the people who are going to be working on your project, and then we give them, this entire project. That's what I'm thinking of, like a long-term sustainable thing for both us as the guild and for women who are learning as a process, like as a part of the guild and things like that. So I'm just trying to understand what should be our current narrative out in the world, or should we still keep it like yeah, we are just like getting more women in the Web3 space kind of thing. Like, should we keep it generic, or should we keep our narrative very specific? Like, no, like we'll give you developers, like you'll find developers in our group, something like
Yeah,
that.
I think for one thing, usually when I see roadmaps, like for different, not necessarily for requests for funding, but just roadmaps in general, like our roadmaps and other protocols, is that it's usually doesn't go longer than like maybe 18 months or something, maybe 2 years, but then it goes by quarters. So you say Q1 of 2022 and Q2 of 2022. I think I would maybe focus on the education part, because until you educate enough people, you can't take on those projects anyway.
Right.
I'm not saying we shouldn't do those things, but I think focusing on the education part, and because if you want to take on projects, then you've got to have the people with the skills.
Right.
So I think I would maybe focus on that first, and then you could maybe have two prongs, like we're educating people so they can get jobs, and we can actually get them into those jobs, because some companies want internal employees, some are happy to put things out. I just talked to a guy yesterday in Amsterdam who he has an NFT project and he desperately wants to find developers, and he'd be fine with working with like a small organization. He doesn't necessarily want to hire people because he's more of the artist type thing. He doesn't want to have employees. He would want like someone to do the project for him, for instance. But other things like my company, like we're still desperately looking for Solidity developers. We can't find them. So maybe look at both, but I would maybe work on the education first, because you have to have that before you can say we can do projects. You've got to be able to prove that you've got people that can do things. So maybe that should be like the starting part is the education part, and then working towards being able to pick up projects. And that's not to say that you can't do like bounties and things like that and hackathons in the meantime, but to be able to actually take on a project, people are going to want to see that there's been like some education and stuff going on. So I would maybe focus on that first, because once you educate people, then they have the choice of like getting a job inside a company or being part of the group that takes on projects.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just one perspective with respect to marketing, Jan. So
Mm-hmm.
initially we want women or ladies to join the group. So if you say only devs, that removes the non-tech, or that forms a
Right.
barrier for the non-tech people to join in. They will be skeptical. So we don't want that friction. Initially, we'll just generalize it like all women who are looking to get into Web3, be it experience, be it non-experience, be it tech, non-tech, all are invited. Further than then we have that segregation, or that defining like this is a group of dev people, this is a group of non-tech or marketing people, this is a group of community managers. Like that we can go ahead with the rules and definitions.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have like the boot camps for the different areas that you're looking at. The only reason I was mentioning devs as well, because I am a dev, so that's the thing that I think of, but also because I know how desperate companies are for them. I get asked all the time. I get so many recruiters all the time, like crazy salaries, like crazy, insane salaries. I mean, I'm happy with my job, so I'm not wanting to move, but there's a real desperate need for developers, and there aren't enough at all, let alone female. So that's the reason I said that. Not saying we should focus on marketing or other things as well.
Yeah, makes sense. I think the developer narrative is just easier to sell if you're looking for like funding and stuff. But we should keep the group like in such a way that we are open to encouraging everybody to get into the space for sure. Awesome.
And we just hired a community manager that is female, and she's from the bigger pie. So maybe she'd be interested in helping with the education of the community manager thing. I don't know if you have people or not.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to ask Bridget as well to just come in and, help us with that, because I think she has like really good networking skills, and she can get the ball rolling on that. And then we have Almaz as well, who's learning some community. She's learning marketing at Hype Marketing, Almaz, if I'm right. So
Yeah, it's third web. Yeah, right now. Yeah.
Also, my company, two of the top female in marketing is in my company. There are two like of the top marketing people are female as well.
Oh, that's awesome. So we should get them to come and do.
Yeah, if you can give me an idea of what kinds of things you want for those two types of boot camps, I could approach them and see if they're interested in being mentors or teachers or something.
Yeah, that's awesome. I will put something up together for the community manager / marketing kind of bootcamp, and then
yes, I've got like three women in mind, just even in my company itself, and there are plenty in I'm sure other places. Yeah.
Awesome. So Grace, I think that's a really cool idea. Grace says in the chat that coming from the perspective of a junior Flutter developer who's enthusiastic about Web3 but has absolutely no idea, how about a month or more bootcamp strictly focused on putting one through the implementation of Web3 from scratch? That's interesting, but I'm intrigued, like, what do you mean by implementation of Web3? Like, is it just like conceptual topics, or is it something more like Flutter focus that you would be looking at? How are you kind of thinking of it, Grace? Because in our Solidity Bootcamp, we are going to have like basics of Web3, what is blockchain, like basics of cryptography and stuff for sure. So people understand like why they are doing what they're doing. So that's going to happen as a part of the Solidity Bootcamp for sure. But if there is something else that you think we could put together, set of sessions, I think that we'd be happy to do that. Awesome. Grace.
Hey, Gyan.
Hey,
Heather. I want to continue to the discussion that you were having about the roadmap of the Phoenix Guild. I definitely feel that before we can raise more funds, or before we can start helping companies to recruit more women developers from the Phoenix Guild, the first thing that we should do more and more of is continue doing more and more collaborations for different bounties and grants. that will help us build a solid profile. And at least each one of us who's active in this group, at least each one of us should have 2 or 3 different completed projects through grants. And then we should be able to promote our group, saying that each of the women developers and non-developers here have attempted 2 or 3 bounties successfully, and they have vetted themselves in the Web3 world. Now they are ready to be recruited. So they themselves will have a solid reputation and they will be more confident. Right now, what I see is it's a mix, definitely. Some of us are experienced, some of us are not experienced. But if we do these collaborations, and you can set a time limit, like let's say for next 45 days, we are only collaborating for grants and bounties. And after that, we are only helping companies recruit from within the group. So something like that, uh, that's what I was thinking.
But do you think right now, given the community that we have, do you think people have enough skill set to be able to go ahead and apply for grants and get them? I feel like right now it's just more like those who are already experienced have the ability to go and get some grants. But otherwise, I feel like community is fairly new. Everybody is just like starting to figure out like what are the things that they're doing. I don't know in terms of grants. There are a lot of grants, but I feel like most of them are very like product focused. Like if you're building a product, you get a grant very easily.
Yeah,
But
that's what my company mostly looks at. But yeah, maybe they would consider something like this. Yeah.
yeah, because product grants are very easy to get.
Mhm.
Ecosystem grants, on the other hand, are also easy to get if you're able to tell the story well. Like, for example, and this is something we were discussing yesterday as well, Asia is a market which is like slowly booming like crazy. And the community outreach in Asia is very minimal. Like, you don't see like Indonesia or Philippines. Philippines is like the hub of like coders, right? You see a lot of remote work being done by Philip folks in Philippines. So even India, the communities protocols, people are not even aware that such people are probably know Ethereum, they know Polygon for sure because it's by Indian founders, and it's just limited, right? If you say something like Vega protocol, Boson protocol, people don't even know. And the protocols which are based in US and Europe want to spread their wings for sure. They want to go to communities which are rich with developers, which are rich with people itself. Like imagine the population of India, we have 1 billion people. If everybody has a crypto wallet, like they are happy. We get everybody to have a crypto wallet. They protocols will be more than happy.
Yeah.
So this is also an easy story to sell. Anything in the middle, I don't know, like, and for the product thing, you need a different skill set, which is like you need good developers, you need to have some blockchain knowledge on what you're going to build, you need to have the solidity kind of knowledge. At least even basic solidity is like good, right? For you to just get put together some smart contracts and get like a proof of concept running. And that's why I was thinking of focusing on these two boot camps, because the scope for these two and the ability to tell the story and be able to build something is very, very tangible. But if I say like we do 30 days for grants, let's sit together and dedicate the next 30 days so that we can apply grants. How do we build the skill set for that? Like, how do we get the grant? That's the question that we should, because even now there are lots of bounties that are coming up on our channel every day, but we see like 1 out of 5 bounties that are going attempt that people are attempting, right? Other bounties women are not even attempting. So
What kinds
why
of
do
bounties
we?
are people doing? I've never actually done a bounty, so to be honest, what kinds of bounties are there?
So
Are they
all
bug bounties, do you mean? You mean bug bounties or some other
bug
kind of bounty?
bounties. Actually, bug bounties are like next level. People definitely not attempt bug bounties, but at least like writing bounties, which is what I'm encouraging everybody to start with. Like writing bounties are like there are these deep dive bounties where you go to a platform, like you learn about that platform and you write about it. So it's a way of learning about that particular product and then writing about that product. So a lot of these bounties, Almas has been posting on our channel very recently. We have had, I think, over 10 to 15 bounties by Super Team that are still ongoing right now. But not many women are attempting. even just the writing bounties. So I feel like, is there an education gap that we can come in and fill so we can encourage them to kind of um, get into the space, know about these products, and start feeling confident to attempt these? So that's something that.
Yeah, absolutely, Gyan. Agree with you on this point. Why? Because these bounties are on different platforms or different texts. Be it the underlying is the similar, the blockchain, but again, the layer two, when we come in, there is not much clarity. We have to go ahead and deep dive in videos, more researching. That itself takes a lot of time. Again, the bounty periods are like they do provide like more than 2 or 3 weeks, but if you are a working professional, it's very hard to, you can say, get that rhythm sorted and dedicate time. And again, you can say get those in writings and get that you can say grammatically correct, those all indentations and stuff like that. That seriously, like, if you're dedicating, if your schedule is defined, then you really cannot help it. So, and then bridging the gap with respect to knowledge is more important. If, say, suppose I'm stuck with how exactly this process is all about, I don't know whom to reach up to, what will be the point of contact. I'll still search for more YouTube videos. That again goes down a deep down rabbit hole. So we want like sometimes a quick info to get to the next step. Right now, yes, we are learning stage. One need to explore themselves, like looking for more details and check, but that goes down a rabbit hole. So at least we need one mentor. Say suppose for Solana dev, I can reach out for this person on this ecosystem. Even if I'm stuck with layer 2 or anything, I can ask him or her the question, or they can point out to me or direct me to the, you can say, to the nearest answer or solution. Then I can work upon it. So that improves that time period. And if you have an answer, or if you get those answers, you can say right tick, you are, you can say, you'll do it naturally. But if you have a dead end somewhere, you don't have an answer to that, that fuzz out, that whole interest, that curiosity is gone, and then you leave it in the thin air. So that's happening right now. If you can bridge somewhere on those lines for the layer 2 and layer, like, that will be, you can say, an added benefit to it.
I
See,
see. So resources, something that I can, sorry, I'm just noting it down. I think resources is something that I see like something common that is being asked of. I think even in other groups, there's a lot of struggle with resources. Something similar Swapna also put forth, like, what do I need to do to get there? Something like this kind of mind map. Remember, Heather, we were discussing for the Zero to CTO program. Like, what is the mind map to reach this particular position? I think that could be something that's worth working on. Like, what are the skill sets that you may need to do this? What are the skill sets that you may need to do this? What are the skill sets that you would need to finally attempt this? Maybe building something like that would be useful. Along with that, resources on where you can find at different steps, what are the good resources that you could find that could help you on your journey, stuff like that. Probably, yeah. That I
see,
will.
I want to come back to the question again. Because the question was, uh, we are doing these knowledge sharing sessions and onboarding sessions, but we also want to know that at the end of these sessions, how many participants felt confident enough to attempt a bounty? And
Right.
if they could be paired with someone who's experienced, then will it change anything? But if we at the end of the session, if we are saying that we still need more sessions, then we are doing something wrong. Basically, either our sessions need to change in a way that they are more and more focused on enabling anyone completely, or we should start evaluating the people who have graduated from the previous onboarding sessions. At which stage of confidence level are they at?
Yeah,
Mm.
completely agree with Krati on this point.
So do you think, and this is something I've been thinking for the proof of skill, right? If we say that you have attended a session and we give you like a POAP, a proof of skill NFT, at the end of every session, should we do a small quiz, which has like, so whoever's preparing the session can prepare a small quiz, which is like 5 to 6 questions or something. And if you cleared the quiz, we give you like a NFT badge or something, or we give you a week to clear the quiz. So you can watch the video later and then clear the quiz. And if you clear the quiz, you get a NFT that you attended this session. And these are the points that you learned based on the quiz that has come out of it. I think, will that help us evaluate or get an understanding of the skill that we are trying to impart? Is it actually getting imparted?
I think that quizzes are great at evaluating what is the IQ, but they are not great at evaluating what is the practical competence of the person. Instead of quiz, if we could just do a hands-on session, or maybe just a small project where we can pair one experienced person with three three new people, three inexperienced people, and a team of four. They can work on a project together just at the end of the session, because things will be like the concepts will be fresh in their minds. It will be more effective. It will give more confidence to those three new people to attempt bounties and to build on top of the knowledge that they just received.
Okay, we can try something out for maybe a practical hands-on session. These like grouping folks together and trying to do
Yeah,
something.
and these, like, we don't even necessarily need to come up with a new project. We can ask
Yeah,
them to come and join us in existing projects or existing bounties. They can just help out and they can get some experience in return.
Yeah,
yeah.
even I think that might be a great idea, especially maybe bounties that we guys keep. I mean, you guys keep posting bounties on the group, right? Maybe one of it that's related to the topic of that session. We can just club maybe like 3 4 people together, maybe into like breakout rooms and just attempt it, and maybe get back and discuss it also.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, continuing what Nivedita suggested, at the end of the session, we just post 5 bounties. Let's say the session was onboarding to Solidity. We post 5 bounties from different protocols which need a Solidity developer, and we just pair an experienced person from within our group with 3 or 4 different new people to attempt those bounties. So this experienced person will act as a mentor from time to time, and those three new people will keep attempting those bounties. The confidence will grow.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. I think we can have some sort of hacking sessions where we have people interested in doing the practical side of things can be paired with like mentors and just put them into breakout rooms and stuff. And we can
Yeah,
do that. That's a good
yeah.
idea.
And once these 3 people they attempt the bounties, their mentor, which is the experienced person, that will make a note of it, and then this person will recommend those 3 new people to be hired by different companies who are looking to hire women.
Cool, yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah. We should definitely do that for practical, like hands-on kind of sessions, which we have not yet started, so we should.
Yeah. And also this,
Now,
we need to start planning a little bit more sessions that are not just dev oriented, like, or tech oriented, basically sessions that give equal opportunities to tech and non-tech people.
yeah, so that was going to be my next question. Can you all throw up some topics that we should do for the next sessions? I know that we were discussing about decrypting like DeFi terminologies, where there are a bunch of things that I'm sure like women feel really overwhelmed, like farming and like liquidity pools and like so many terminologies that I guess there are lots of terminologies that people are not familiar with. So maybe we should do like a session, a roundtable session where we are decrypting the DeFi terminologies and just in general discussing what they mean, and maybe give an example of certain protocols, like what is Aave doing, what is Compound, what is Balancer, and then probably that will give them little more confidence to attempt the DeFi based bounties. That is one session that I think people are excited about. Are there any other topics that you just want to suggest so we can start finding speakers and slotting them in?
Yeah, finding speakers and mentors, I guess so. This activity should be like all 365 days around for us. Why? Because every time you need mentors for every topic coming up, with solidity, with trust, or with community management. Now, specifically for me, like transitioning from Web 2 marketing to Web 3, even if I know Web 2 marketing very well, but the platforms and channels, be it suppose Discord, Telegram, this I might not have used previously in my Web2 thing. So this, the setup, the communication, the way it works, the onboarding, it's a little bit different and it takes time. And unless if you are working on that aspect of it, you'll not get to know just by learning or reading stuff. You'll never get to know unless you apply that practical skill set, or you are working on some dummy project or live project. So that has to be applied. So, and once that is done, then you can have that co-ops or NFTs. Yeah, certainly worked on this, and that's the proof of it, like it has been done. Yeah.
Cool. Uh, so I've noted down like basic onboarding tips and stuff. No problem, Joanne. Most welcome. We are
With
just
onboarding, I'll certainly share some plan, like how exactly we can onboard from that email thing, and what are the, at least for non-tech, I can decide it very well. Tech part, I guess so. I'll still discuss with you more on those aspects, and then we'll come with an onboarding. And I'll certainly share that doc, or you can say at least a rough draft of it. Then we can say have changes or revisions to that.
awesome. Are there any other topics that you think we should do sessions on that will at least set the context for many of the things happening in Web3? I feel like metaverse is one topic that is very like popular and maybe would be interesting. I don't know if it is something that folks would be interested.
Again,
But did
just
you
a
say
small.
DAO?
Sorry,
Sorry, did you say DAO?
metaverse. Metaverse.
Oh, metaverse. Oh yeah, yeah. We're
So
big in metaverse.
a small suggestion, Yan. Just going by random keywords right now, it will certainly spark interest. But if we don't know the basics or the foundations, that will just, you can say, not a learning experience. It will be like just attending the sessions. I don't know when that knowledge, when that skill will get applied. So rather than just jumping onto the buzzwords or keywords, if we stick first initially to the foundation, once that is acquainted by the, like, non-tech people getting acquainted with the tech stack, how exactly it's there. For tech people, get acquainted with how exactly the community aspect, the opposite always, the marketing or the community thing, how exactly it works, or how exactly a product, you can say, management skills are applied in Web3 projects. So cross skilling, like it will definitely get that at first, get this sorted, and then move on to the bigger chunk like metaverse. DeFi is also like have a lot of, you can say, big concepts. Unless you know the basics, that will not make sense, or you cannot relate it very well. Apart from just
What do you want to be covered in the basics?
the basics is suppose now how we start with solidity and rust, the basic principles right from coding and then stuff. We move on, you can say one step, we can say, ahead. It should not be like a sprint or a jump from zero to some xyz point. That gap is still there. So unless you bridge that gap, that sprint will not make any sense. Just randomly having session on it, yeah, it will give popularity and stuff like traffic and attrition, those keywords, if you're using it. But personally, value add for a beginner, it will be like very minimum, like it can be zero also, like with respect to those sessions.
Would things like introduction to Ethereum,
Yeah,
introduction to like
EVM.
yeah, things like
Yeah.
that. That's
ZK
something.
rollups you had some questions on about. So these are some little basic things we still, like, as a non-techie, I'd be interested what exactly the basics goes in, how exactly it works. So when if I'm into Solidity bootcamp programming, it can make sense. I can apply that knowledge here. Yeah, ZK rollups, it works this way. So with programming, if I have a certain goal, or a smart contract to design, I can relate it to it. I can ask more questions, then I'll get more clarity on that. So something on those lines that bridge that gap. Yeah.
Hi, sorry, I actually have a little bit of contradictory thought process to this, because I feel like coming from a completely non-tech background, right, it is really difficult for us to get into the whole tech bit. And I also feel like just because we want to be part of Web3, it shouldn't be a necessity to learn tech, right? Because Web3 is an ecosystem that comprises of all sorts of backgrounds, and that's how we should keep it, rather than focusing on turning everybody in the group to like to becoming a developer. We should rather focus on enhancing their skills, if that makes sense. Because
Yeah.
for us who's, let's say, from a fashion background, who's not studied, let's say, even JavaScript or like C++, it's going to be very difficult for us to like do everything from scratch and then become a Solidity developer. And that's not even something that we aim to be doing. So when we're talking about basics, I don't think we should only be thinking about tech or developer basics, but rather basics in every niche that we're looking
So
at.
even if we're doing a metaverse a session per se, we can go basics of metaverse. It's not,
Yeah, just an introduction to
yeah,
what
it
is
doesn't have to
metaverse.
be how do you build it or how do you build on it. It just, it just needs to be basics of it so they understand the concept of what is behind it, which is what we want to do with all the topics. So give them a brief, and if somebody is a little bit more interested in a certain topic, we can always direct them to resources where they can learn further from, because I'm sure all of us can. And even then, if we have, like trouble learning or picking up a certain thing, we can always get back to the group, and then we can do further sessions on that.
Also, we were thinking another good way could be so a lot of people from Phoenix will have already worked on project or like part of projects or like have co-founded certain things, right? I feel like individual, like all of these people can come forward and take like sessions so that they can talk about their experiences in the Web3 world, and also about the team, like what sort of team they have,
Roles.
and yeah, and what sort of roles they have, what sort of skills that they look at in terms of getting people on board to their own platforms, so that would have like a more realistic idea of what actually it looks like.
Yeah, agree to what Nivedita has said. Yes, but it's not a compulsion that everyone needs to be in tech. Just because Heather and Gyan did have this conversation, like there is a crunch of, you can say, tech people, and either ways, like if you're going for you can say smart contract security, like kind of a job role, you at least need to know how to read those programming lines, make sense out of it. So it was just like an interest based. If that person had interest, they can definitely go for Solidity boot camps or Rust boot camps, no compulsion. So it's just a cross mix of, you can say, skills, because we cannot, you can say, force anybody to go out of the way. Of course, like whatever your forte is with respect to your domain, suppose fashion or marketing is your forte, you definitely try to stick to that forte and then expand up into Web3. That's obviously the plan A, the first and foremost plan. But still, apart from that, in Web3 is specific, like if you know a little bit of coding, that will certainly, you can say, add to benefits.
Yeah, I mean, we should do a balance. I think we should do a balance of like very introduction to a certain topic kind of sessions, as well as maybe some technology sessions where people may be interested to deep dive on specific things. But we can do some basic ones where everybody feels like they can be a part of it, even like introduction to Solidity or yeah, complementary tech and non-technical sessions. I think that's a good way to go about it. We are almost at the end of we are at the end of an hour. But I want to just quickly just zoom in on just this one thing about talking about your experiences. I think as Sri Lakshmi mentioned, there are a lot of females who come from different experiences and are a part of the Phoenix Guild. Do you think something like 10-15 minutes video bites of these experiences would help? Something like how Joanne is doing in her podcast, highlighting women and what their journey has been in the Web3 space. Do you think it's worth spending time to highlight these? Because I feel like these will come out as role models to others who might want to go on similar journeys. So should we do them as sessions or should we do them as video bites kind of thing? What do you think is the
So
best way to?
something maybe that we can pin in the group.
Video
Yeah.
bites then.
Maybe a link. Yeah, I don't know how we would pin videos though. Although videos are a good idea.
Yeah, we could, or we could do like if for folks willing, we could do like an AMA or something, and then pin those profile write-ups. Yeah, I think there are small videos or profile write-ups. I think stuff like that. That is something that we should definitely look for, like AMA as well. Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm putting up some of these. Okay, awesome. So we'll think about a structure for this and try to do this maybe once a month or once every 2 weeks or something like that. Okay, awesome. All right, we are almost at the end of an hour, but seems like we have a lot to discuss. So we should probably do this once a month, a community call. Is everybody okay with this?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I just have a quick question. Do you want me to approach the ladies who do the marketing and the community management, or to see if they are interested in participating, or do you want me?
Yeah, that would be great because I don't have that experience. So the Solidity Bootcamp was fairly easy for me to put up because I have that experience. But obviously, I don't have anything in like marketing. So yeah, if you think they would be willing to put up something, it could be a short 1 to 3 weeks, and then I would say it should be more really about the hands-on experience, like if they could suggest to do like for specific projects for a short while, maybe if we could get some collabs, like we'll promote your project for free, just take one of our bootcamp folks to do it kind of thing. I was thinking
Okay.
more of those lines. Yeah. So
Well, I'll
yeah,
see
that's
if they-
awesome.
Yeah, maybe I'll see like what their bandwidth is, and then maybe we can have a separate call with them to see like what they would be doing, what they can do, or.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Also, Heather, adding on to that, I wanted to talk about the grants form that you were talking about. So I was just looking into it for the Solidity Bootcamp. So I saw the form. Would it be okay that maybe we fill out and then get that through you, and then you can let us know if there are any corrections or feedback, and then we can go ahead and post that.
Yeah, I think we should wait first because I think we might be in between grant rounds right now. So I need to check to see, like we do like rounds, like there was a first round and then it might be in round 2. So I need to see if they're doing a round right now. So I need to check on that to see like where the process is. So let me check on that.
Sure. You can let
And then if there is a process or if there's one that's going to be starting soon, then yeah, we could get something together.
Cool.
All right, awesome. Okay. Does anybody else have anything to share? Did tokenomics as a topic come up? No, Joanne, I will add that right away.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, we have somebody who just joined. Let's see. But we're almost done. All right. Are there any other questions? I'm sure that I think we have a lot of things that we need to think about, like some structure and stuff. I'll try to put all the notes together and share with folks like on what we discussed. I've just taken it down on my notes. And yeah, then we can we'll see what are some of the sessions that we can do. Maybe we should do more of these sessions as Heather suggested, so we are able to cover maximum amount of topics in the next upcoming months. And probably once we have those topics covered, people feel more confident to attempt the bounties or get into projects and things like that. And then of course we have the bootcamp planning that's happening separately. Awesome.
Yeah, sounds good.
Does Heather, someone who works in tokenomics? Yes, please.
Well, I just met her at ECC last year. She's one of the people who works in like she's one of the, I forget the word they use, but she works, she works with,
the Token Engineering Academy, TE Academy.
Yeah, it's like the token standard. It's the tokens, like the open standards. I forget what it's called, but she's one of the people that oversees that.
Okay. Yeah, I think we should definitely get more folks in tokenomics. I'm also going to approach the token engineering group that runs cohorts every, I think, couple of months or something. And the lead who leads that, she's a woman. So
Yeah,
I'm
she's a German woman, I think, right?
yes. So we'll see if we can get her on board. I think the token part itself is like even if people are doing projects, I think they still don't understand much about tokens. So I think that's a really, really great space to explore.
I
And
talked to a guy yesterday, the NFT guy I was talking about, and he wants to know about it too. You know, like, a lot of people don't.
everybody does, right? Everybody wants. That's why I was just telling Joanne, like, I think tokenomics becoming, or like, if you're really interested in that and you kind of want to deep dive into it, then that become, and if you have that expertise, you become such a, like a niche asset, right? If you can just step in and be like, hey, you know what, I'm going to charge you a couple of dollars and I will build the entire tokenomics for your product. Like, people will be willing to like pay like shitloads of money for it, for sure. That can be one of the really good skill sets that we can capitalize
Token
on.
engineer. There's even a name for it, token engineer.
Yeah, token
Yeah,
engineer.
I sense in the future there will be a big need for like tokenomics consultants on
For sure.
different projects. I might be
Yeah.
wrong, but I sense that.
No, it's already there. It's already there. People are willing to pay a bomb to anybody who can come in as their like tokenomics consultant. That's already happening. But I think not many people are capitalizing on this, primarily because it's not just understanding of the tokens, but you also need to work a little bit on the economics of things. Like, how do you see this in the long run? So people who already have economics background can actually have, I feel like they may have a good chance on cracking it, but could be biased.
Or a researcher or an experimenter who has dabbled into various tokens and various other Web3 assets, or something like digital asset trading or something like that. If somebody is expert in that, yeah, that person will definitely can go on for token engineering and those aspects of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should definitely think of that as a vital skill set that we can develop for a group of women. Yeah, that's helpful.
So identify some future roles that will be hot in the next 1 or 2 years or 6 months or something like that, and then drill down reverse engineering,
Yeah, and
start from the
then
basics of it. Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, sounds good. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining. I will